Absolutely. But we do have our first guest of the day in the building, Coach Bullet, coming in. How you guys
What's
doing?
going
Good
on,
morning.
Coach?
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you? How are you? Buenos dias. So this is gonna be interesting. Danny's gonna be back to working his translator magic. He has let the community know that he might be the best translator in boxing. Yo, what would you do if they gave you the call to be over Jerry Ayala or somebody like that?
I mean, shit, money talks, bro. if they calling, they better be paying.
I mean, would you wear it like a boxing voice? You know how McGregor had.
You gotta pay, bro.
What you mean? It's got to say TBV
nah,
all the way
bro,
around.
you gotta pay.
Pinstripe at TBV.
You gotta pay. That's another level. You get what I'm saying? When they start picking up sponsors just because that's your friend, you still gotta pay for that patch. Ain't that right, Coach?
All day.
You still gotta pay for that patch.
All right, so let's get this started. How do we pronounce your last name? ¿Cómo se dice tu apellido?
Florencia Belén.
Oh, well, that's totally different from what we got.
Okay.
All right.
En realidad son mis dos nombres, Florencia Belén, porque mi apellido es Pajares.
Pajares. Oh.
Pero en tu Instagram tú tienes otro nombre.
Florencia Belén, Flo Pajares.
Flo Pajares.
So you want to translate?
So, Spanish-speaking countries, they have your mother's last name and your father's. So she's explaining that, she really has the two last names.
Wait, so that's not even her first name. What's her first name? So ¿cuál es tu primer nombre?
Florencia.
Florencia y luego el primer apellido Belén y luego...
El primer apellido Pajares.
Pajares. Y...
Mis dos nombres, Florencia Belén.
So, entonces, el primer nombre
Florencia.
Y luego el segundo nombre...
Belén.
Y
primer apellido Pajares, segundo apellido Britos.
Ay, wait.
Wow, bro. No wonder we couldn't find her on BoxRec.
I'm just trying to find her on BoxRec. All right.
Wow. So she sounds like Argentina?
Uruguay.
Uruguay,
carajo.
Yo comí.
¿Ah?
No, yo conocí una mujer de Uruguay, and that's how she used to say, I already ate. Like, ask her to say, I already ate.
Entonces, si usted acaba de comer, ¿cómo usted diría que acaba de comer?
Recién comí.
Recién comí. Okay.
No, because the other woman said, yo comí. But whatever. Anyway, small inside joke. Keeping it moving. Did you find the box rack?
I didn't, no.
Oh.
There's not going to be a box rec on there because she has 43 amateur fights.
Okay.
And she has a professional debut. It's supposed to be May 21st, but now it's June 10th in St. Louis, Missouri.
Perfect.
So,
perfect.
She fights like she has 10, 15 fights, but she's first professional debut.
Is that on the Darren Cunningham card?
No, that's the day after. We fight the day before. Darren fight the day after.
Oh, in the same city.
Same exact venue.
Wow. Same venue.
Yeah. So that's like Buckhead. They do back-to-back shows in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, Coach, I know you work with a lot of fighters, a lot of fighters, and obviously, I would say one of the biggest is Rolly, and he has a huge fight coming up. How are you able to manage all of your fighters?
Well, I have a good schedule, a very mapped out schedule. So I have like Flo, I have Freddie, Malapi, I have all these guys getting ready for June 10th. Avius, Underdog, Cleo Mack, they're all getting for June 10th. Rolly's May 28th. I go to a separate gym for Rolly at 3:30, training my way to 6 o'clock. So I just keep it separate. I keep the guys that have the big fights separate, the guys that have fights together, and the guys that don't have fights, I kind of mess with them a little bit in the gym, but I give them different assignments and different regiments. Where because the people with the fights, those are the ones that have to be intact. Then I have assistant coaches. And the funny thing about my assistant coaches, a couple of them were my coaches. So it's just a circle.
So back to Florencia. I asked her 43 amateur fights is a lot of fights.
You said 43, Coach?
Yeah.
What was the record?
¿Qué es tu número?
¿Cuál es
¿Cuántas peleas amateur?
43.
¿Y tu récord?
¿Derrotas?
Una.
Wow.
Okay.
So she's 43 and
amateur,
1.
42-1. So in 43
Yeah, 42 and 1.
in 43 amateur
so
fights. Turns
my question
pro
was-
June 10th. Your question is?
That's a lot of amateur fights, especially for female boxing. Did she have like I don't know, Olympic aspirations, gold medal aspirations?
These-
Why is it taking so long to turn pro?
Dice que obvio 43 peleas son mucho para una mujer en boxeo amateur. ¿Usted tuvo sueños de tal vez pelear en las Olimpiadas o
Sí.
siempre era... ¿Y qué pasó con su sueño de las Olimpiadas?
Esa cuestión del boxeo en Uruguay es muy complicada. Mucha falta de oportunidad. Hay mucho talento en Uruguay, pero hay mucha falta de oportunidad.
So she said that yes, the Olympics was the goal, but the issue is that in Uruguay there's a lot of talent, but not a lot of opportunity. So it's really hard to really get to that next level.
Ask her, does she know the name Samson Lewickovich from her time in Uruguay?
Obvio, usted conoce a Samson Lewickovich.
Samson no hace mucho tiempo que está en Uruguay. Yo hace 12 años que estoy en el box. Y empecé a los 11 años. Y Samson hace 6, 7 años que está actuando en el boxeo amateur. Y con decirte de que ni siquiera hace un año que se logró implementar el record book para el boxeo amateur. El historial
Ajá.
del boxeador amateur. Cuando yo empecé a pelear, recién a los 6 años, después de que estaba peleando, teníamos un record book, pero de papel. Viste que cada pelea lo teníamos que llevar.
Entonces no fue después de los 6 años de que usted estaba boxeando que tuvo eso.
Sí, después de los 6 años.
So, she's saying, she's like, Samson, she says she's been boxing since she was 11 years old. Samson just recently got involved with the amateur boxing out there within the last 6 years. And that, it's just really tough. She says, look, when I was an amateur, my first 5-6 years, we didn't even have a piece of paper with a record on it. How they do here. You take it to your tournaments and whatnot. So she said that wasn't after years later. So obviously the boxing in Uruguay is very different. How long have you been in the U.S.? ¿Ya cuánto tiempo tiene aquí en los Estados Unidos?
3 meses recién cumplidos.
Oh, apenas recientemente. Entonces, ¿qué te trajo para acá? I asked, how long have you been here in the U.S.? Then she says only 3 months. So
Give me credit. Me. Why? Because I seen she was sparring Hollywood the champ. You know what I'm saying?
right,
In
all
3
right.
months, we got her in studio because I seen how she was. She did well. She did well. Just like I was impressed with Hollywood the champ doing so well with that 3-time champion. Don't know the name off top, but it's on our YouTube because they had a good session. I'll actually look it up to see, does she know her?
Entonces, ¿qué fue lo que te trajo para aquí, para los Estados Unidos? Obviamente querías seguir tu carrera, pero ¿cómo fue que llegaste aquí?
Es muy loco todo. Es muy loco todo. Sabes que en septiembre tenía todo planeado para irme a Río de Janeiro a vivir, no a Las Vegas,
Ajá.
a Río de Janeiro. Estaba
In
empezando.
Brazil?
Yes.
Why?
Hold on, she's about to say
But
it.
that's a better story. I want to know why.
Well, she said it's a crazy story, and then she got to telling
Okay,
it. If you didn't cut
I'm
her off, she
sorry.
would've
I'm
finished.
sorry.
Dios
I'm
es grande,
sorry.
Dios es grande, Dios es grande. Tengo solo que agradecer. Bueno, tenía todo pronto para irme a Río de Janeiro. Estaba entrando en el área del MMA.
Oh, that's why.
Sí, y llegó un momento que le dije a mi mamá, mamá, no quiero más universidad, no quiero más trabajar, quiero pelear. Me voy. ¿Me apoyás? Sí, Belén, es tu sueño. Ok, pa, lo llamé, pa, me quiero ir, quiero pelear, quiero perseguir lo que yo quiero. Bueno, está bien, hija, te ayudo. Vendí todo lo poco que tenía, auto, moto, perro, ropa, me voy, chao. Y me vine.
So, did you, translate.
So I asked her, obviously, what brought her out here, and she said that back in September, she was actually supposed to move to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, not Las Vegas, and she was supposed to move out there to pursue an MMA career. And that she told her mother, look, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to work. I just want to fight. And her mother gave her blessing, and, she pursued. Entonces, ¿Cuándo fue que llegaste aquí a Las Vegas? ¿Por qué fue que no fuiste para Río y que en vez llegaste aquí hace 3 meses? Question was, if you were supposed to go to Rio for MMA in September, what was it that changed and has now brought you here?
Fue Dios que me trajo acá, realmente fue Dios que me trajo acá. Yo, no estaba en mis planes, realmente no estaba en mis planes. Fue, me voy y se cuadró todo y gracias a Dios estoy acá. Y tengo una tía que fue la que me ayudó a venir a perseguir mi sueño acá.
So she said, no, it's God. It's God. You know, it's God. I had a dream that I wanted to pursue. Her aunt helped her pursue that dream and now get here. And it's simply God. And I do believe that the reason, or Coach Bullet's reason as to why she came to do boxing here in Vegas versus MMA is those paydays. Ain't that right, Coach? Oh, you ain't got it. Oh, yep. Make a
Big
lot more.
difference.
So he's showing us a picture on his phone that says the purses of 2 separate fighters. Obviously, Canelo Alvarez making $15 million guaranteed, and a MMA fighter that I don't know making $480,000 guaranteed. But can you ask Florencia, how did she actually come to the States? Like, what's that process like for people from Uruguay? Does she have to get a visa? Does someone have to sponsor her? How's that work for her? Because she said she sold everything. So, I mean, is it as easy as selling everything and just buying a flight?
Entonces, ¿cómo fue que llegaste a Las Vegas? Dice que fue Dios, pero te ayudó tu tía. ¿Cómo fue que cambió de Río para Las Vegas? ¿Por qué fue y cómo?
Yo tenía una tienda en Uruguay. ¿tá? Yo siempre me dediqué a las ventas. Además de ser entrenadora, soy personal trainer. Ok, vendí mi tienda, vendí mi trabajo, me voy. Y eso fue lo que hice. Me vine el 29 de enero. Me vine para acá. Día 2, porque cayó fin de semana, día 2 ya estaba en el gimnasio. Ni siquiera descansé. Hasta hoy día no paré. Training every day, training.
¿Y ya tenías un gimnasio, un entrenador?
Trabajaba en una academia como personal trainer.
No, pero yo digo aquí, cuando, o sea, viniendo para Las Vegas, ¿usted ya tenía un gimnasio esperándote, un entrenador esperándote o
No.
vino a buscar?
No, sabes que yo miraba siempre en internet el gimnasio de Floyd. Digo, yo quiero entrenar ahí. Hacía años. Realmente fue la ley de atracción, creo yo. Realmente fue la ley de atracción. Fueron años que yo miraba y soñaba, yo quiero estar ahí. Y cuando llegué, ok, quiero entrenar acá, quiero pelear. No quiero entrenar, no quiero ser una fit más. Quiero entrenar y quiero pelear. Fue lo que yo dije cuando llegué.
She's like, look, you know, I made my money in Uruguay in sales. I had a store. I had to sell my store. I was a personal trainer. I had to stop doing that. My aunt helped me, and what I want to do was fight. And really, she said it was so many years. So then I followed up by asking, did she have a gym or a trainer waiting here, you know, coming from a different country, just moving here? And she's like, no, she's like, I didn't, you know, I got here and within a few days I was already in the gym, already working. I just wanted to fight. So, you know, to come out here. Entonces, ¿cómo fue que encontraste a Coach Bullet y cómo fue que empezaron a trabajar?
You're killing me here because you know it's not easy for immigrants to get here. So that's how I want to know that process.
Oh,
yeah,
visa?
Like someone has to sponsor you, no?
¿Sacó visa para venir para acá o cómo?
Sí, es obligatorio. Es obligatorio.
Pero alguien tiene que, how you say sponsor? ¿No?
Tiene que como...
¿Tú tienes que tener a alguien aquí o no? ¿Tú puedes nada más sacar la visa y venir?
Puedo sacarla yo sola y venir.
¿Para trabajar?
No.
No,
para trabajar necesitas una carta de invitación.
So, tú estás aquí como turista.
Como turista.
So, sí, y ahora, ¿y qué hace ahora para tu pelea en junio? ¿Es aquí o en otro país?
No, es aquí.
No, va a ser en San Luis.
So, ¿tiene que sacar otra visa ahora?
Sí, la tengo que cambiar.
All right, translate.
Okay, so she said that she got a tourist visa to come here, but because she does have that upcoming fight, that she's changing her visa now for a work visa, so she will be able to fight in St. Louis come June.
So now ask her, was the process simple? Because again, there's so many. And the reason I'm doubling down, guys, there's so many foreign countries, especially Caribbean and Latino, that can't get a visa. It's difficult, man. Like, it's difficult. That's why Samson goes to DR and like he gets those guys visas because, you know, there's talent that can't get over here. So this story is interesting to me.
¿Qué tan fácil o difícil fue para usted sacar la visa?
No, en Uruguay sos investigado si no tenés problemas con policía, si no tuviste antecedentes penales, con droga, tráfico, violencia. Si tuviste alguno de ellos a lo largo de tu vida, probablemente te la nieguen.
She's like, no, you know, they're extremely strict. If you have any type of record, whether it be a driving record or any sort of arrest, any sort of drug use, anything like that, you're more than likely getting denied because of how strict
Inclusive
it
tus
is.
redes sociales, todo te investigan.
She said
What?
they even investigate, go as deep as investigating your social media.
Is that social media is an extension of us. We see people get canceled from that now. So I can see that. So
let me piggyback on that. Also, we're going to be working on her having a extended visa, getting the sponsored. Our management team, top tier management.
If it's too close,
That's cool. Our management team, top tier management, is going to be covering that with our attorneys and stuff like that as well. So basically, I just really want her to focus on fighting, like I do all my fighters. You guys focus on fighting. If I give them my word, they know that we get it covered. I'm Belizean. I was an illegal immigrant. I know how it's done. You know what I'm saying?
So you're from Belize?
Yeah, I had to get adjustment of status at 31 years old. I've been here since I was 10. So it's a process that I understand clearly. And she'll be okay. I have another fighter, Christian Daniels from Slovakia. He's also on a visa. He has to go back every 3 to 6 months. So we're going to change that under our companies to do the sponsorship and stuff like that, especially as a boxer, they become work visas. You understand what I'm saying? So they're good.
Perfect. So since we have you, what is it that you've seen in her that made you want to work with her? And how did you, I don't know, get introduced to her?
Well, the thing is, when she was in Mayweather Boxing Club where I train all my fighters, I think David, Lil Dave,
Yeah.
he was like, she's coming, she's good with her, whatever. But when she came in, she ended up working with some other guys at first. But she knows boxing. So when she sees, okay, this is a different thing, he's really the truth. So we end up working together. But when I seen her work, I was like, she's a monster. She's fast, she's strong, and she's like focused. She doesn't talk to anybody. So that's what you look for as a trainer, somebody that's come in the gym to do their work and to get it done and get out. Everybody that's want to come in the gym, want to kick it, want to hang out, it's not that place. It's a business place. And I like the way that she carried herself from then. And she could fight. So I was like, okay, now you're in America, all we got to do is do a little fine tuning, you know, because in different countries, you have certain styles, and then certain trainers train one style. They don't train for the elite or to perfect her style, her own style. Every fighter that I have fight completely different. I don't train nobody to fight like me. I train to fight like themselves, the best version. So what I'm doing with her is just tighten up the little things. And then she'll be doing 8 to 10 fights within a year.
Dice que obviamente ahorita trabajando que su objetivo con usted que no es que entrenarla para pelear de su estilo de él, sino para mejorar su estilo de usted. Dice que ya haciendo eso, ya cuando tenga su debut profesional, que podría pelear de 8 a 10 veces en el primer año. Oyendo eso como...
Algo sumamente positivo para mi carrera. Yo lo veo como algo sumamente positivo. Además de que el trabajo de condición que hacemos es impresionante. Es impresionante. Y es lo más importante, ¿no?
Tener la condición para poder durar.
Condición mental y condición física. Porque Bullet te trabaja las dos cosas. Bullet es un coach psicológico y un coach físico. No es solamente que vamos, entrenamos, golpeamos. No. Indirectamente te trabaja mucho el psicológico.
So I said, Coach Bullet just got done saying that, you know, obviously you could be fighting 8 to 10 times within the first year, and that his goal is to perfect her own style and not change her to fight his, and that she's like, that's ideal. That is ideal. That is what's important to me, and you know, it's positive. And she said the thing about Coach Bullet, that he doesn't just work you physically, but he works you mentally. and that's what separates him, and that's what has improved her. She says that the conditioning is impressive. The conditioning training is impressive because it's not just physical conditioning, but mental conditioning as well.
So ask her what weight class is she going to debut at? And I'm assuming it's lighter than welterweight, right? Or welterweight, because I know Hollywood the champ Desiree is
¿En qué peso va a debutar?
135.
135.
Oh, wow. So she was sparring up.
Yeah, she'd be at 135, and as we test her strength at the lower weight 130, we probably move her to 130 to get her first championship, and then back up to 35 as we get the opportunities to fight bigger, better opponents in her division. She's mainly muscles, so she carry her weight very well. She doesn't deter from her nutrition, her diet, and her. She would prefer to be bigger because she like to be, physique model looking and stuff like that, and which is cool. But in boxing, we need to take all the advantages that we have. For her height, 135 is perfect. When she's a little older, 130 would be ideal, so we can make the ultimate sacrifice to get the ultimate rewards. You understand what I'm saying?
Some big names in women's boxing in those divisions, Coach.
Katie Taylor just came to the gym. That's one of her favorites. She met her. I introduced them this week.
Wow.
Yeah, last week in the gym. She was going crazy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. So
yeah.
I'm assuming she picked Katie, too.
Yes.
What was that experience like? ¿Cómo fue conocer a Katie Taylor después de que ella tuvo la pelea con Amanda Serrano?
Mira, Katy, yo la sigo hace muchos años. Y yo estaba por entrar a bañarme en el gym. No sé por qué no entré a bañarme. Me miraba en el espejo y cuando veo a Bullet me dice, Flo, come here. Y cuando veo a Katy, salí corriendo, la abracé y empecé a llorar porque fue sumamente emocionante para mí.
Wow.
Soy su fan. Además de que me gustaría pelear con ella porque es la mejor. ¿Viste? ¿Y cómo vas a saber si sos la mejor si no has peleado con los mejores? ¿Entendés? Y bueno, le dije lo que sentía y cuánto la admiraba. Y me preguntó cuándo iba a pelear. Y como, ¿qué? ¿Me estás preguntando cuándo voy a pelear en serio? No, fue una experiencia única, fue muy lindo. Es sumamente humilde, ¿entendés? Y eso es lo que la hace grande también.
She's like, look, I was in the gym. I was about to shower. And she's like, I don't know why I didn't get in the shower. I was looking at myself in the mirror. And Coach Bullet calls me over. And I come over. And I see Katie. And I run and I hug her. And I start to cry because I'm really a fan. It's bigger than me wanting to fight her. I'm really her fan. And I really admire her. And she's extremely humble. And she even asked me, when am I fighting? And the fact that she would ask me, when am I fighting, that was really special to me and a really great moment.
She did say when she said that she's a fan of Katie, but that she does want to fight her. And that how could you be the best if you don't fight the best? So just make sure you put that out there. So now, does she know Carolina Rodriguez?
Que si conoce a Carolina Rodriguez.
No. Coach, do you know a Carolina Rodriguez from here in Vegas or around that spars and stuff? She's a 3-time champ, undefeated, no?
I mean, I heard Hollywood tell me she sparred her.
Yeah.
And they was going back and forth, whatever, which is pretty good. So I want her to spar her as well.
Okay. Make sure I get the call, Coach.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, I don't tell her who she's sparring.
Yeah.
I don't tell her their records. I don't tell her their experience. Because fighters always get caught up in the other person's record or them being a champion, them not being a champion, and they spar that way. They spar with an inferior mindset. None of my fighters ever know who they sparring. You go in the ring, hey, I got a sparring partner for you today. You're going to do 6 rounds with her. You do 6 rounds. She spar boys most of the time on my team. So when you tell them, oh, we're going to spar somebody that's 3 times, now they get a little nervous. They're like, oh, what am I going to do? No, you don't kill your fighter like that. Just we're going to do 4 rounds or 6 rounds. That's it.
That's true, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember the first time I had to spar a dude with 60 fights, and it ruined me.
Exactly.
I was like, I was hyperventilating damn near. Like the
Yeah.
first round, I ain't have no energy because all I thought about is
You mentally
he's
defeated
got 60
yourself.
fights.
Yeah.
He's won these nationals. I'm not. I don't belong in there. That's what I told
Instead
myself.
of going in there and just executing, and that's why I give her, like, she's been here, excuse me, like she said, 3 months. I put her in the ring with anybody. But I put in there with Hollywood. I put in with Malapi. Malapi is one of my fights, like 17 pro fights. He's a 115 to 122 pounder. Straight, lot of experienced monster. And my other guys, Jacob Cuevas, Robert Merriweather, you know what I'm saying? I put her in there with people that could really fight. And she knows how to fight. You know what I'm saying? So when we say about, somebody's a 3-time, I would never mention that to her before we spar.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Dice que obviamente Nelson le preguntó de Carolina, dice que ha oído el nombre, pero que no la conoce, pero que oyó que ha sido sparring y que le gustaría que haga sparring con usted, pero dice que algo de él como entrenador es que no le gusta decirle a sus peleadores con quien hace sparring, porque luego si te dice que usted va a hacer sparring con una muchacha que 3 veces campeón, que mentalmente tal vez piense mucho de eso y que no haga su trabajo en el ring, entonces que mejor dice, tengo a alguien, va a hacer 4 o 6 rounds de sparring, sea lo que sea, pero que no le dice con quién. ¿A usted qué piensa de eso y cómo le afecta?
Eso es parte de su trabajo psicológico.
She's saying that's part of his psychological training and conditioning because you don't know.
Me acuerdo cuando llegué, me hizo hacer sparring con Robert. Yo, ¿qué con Robert? Me va a matar, digo yo, me va a matar. Y no me tienen pena, ninguno me tiene pena. Yo soy somos peleadores arriba del ring. No hay de que, ay, mi compañera. No.
She's like, I remember the first time that I sparred, he told me who I was sparring, like, when it was time to spar, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I'm gonna get messed up. And she's like, that's part of the psychological training. And she's like, just because you guys train together, when it comes to sparring, there is no remorse. They don't hold back. They don't care about you. When you're in their sparring, you're not friends. So, ya teniendo aquí 3 meses y trabajando con Coach Bullet, ¿cómo ha habido su cambio? ¿Cómo ha habido que ha mejorado usted? I said, after being here for 3 months and now working with Coach Bullet, what have you seen you've improved on and what changes have you seen?
La mejora que tuve fue impresionante. Impresionante. A nivel técnico fue muy grande la evolución que tuve a nivel técnico. Aprendí a pegar usando más mis piernas. Generalmente una pega de tronco. Y Bullet me decía, usted tiene piernas grandes, use sus piernas, me decía. Entonces yo siempre pegaba de tronco y pegaba fuerte, pero realmente no me daba cuenta de la fuerza que tenía porque no sabía usar lo más importante, mi base.
She's like, it's truly impressing. First thing is my technical game. She's like, I've seen the improvement on my technical game. And she said the second thing is learning to use my legs.
Exactly.
She's like, learning to use my legs. She's like, don't get me wrong. I used to be able to crack, but I never realized my power because I never knew how to use my legs.
You know what's funny? It's not even halfway there yet to where she got it, where she's going to go.
Dice Coach Bullet que la cosa chistosa es que usted todavía ni está a la mitad de a donde va a llegar con el poder.
Can you ask her about her time with Desiree in the ring? Obviously, she was sparring up. Ask her, did, the extra weight affect? Obviously, it did for Fury and in the Wilder fight. And her name is Desiree Jameson.
Cuando usted conoce a Desiree, ustedes hicieron sparring. Ella pelea en peso welter y su pregunta era que cómo sintió la diferencia haciendo sparring, porque obviamente usted va a pelear en peso ligero, ella es peso welter, entonces naturalmente ella es más grande. ¿Cómo notó la diferencia?
Es como una categoría un poco más lenta, ¿no? Por el peso. Es una categoría un poco más lenta, siento yo. No es desmereciendo.
No, yo entiendo, pero eso es un decir en el deporte que como Anthony Joshua, he slimmed down to be faster. So I wasn't saying that she was laughing at Desiree for being slower. I'm just saying, I understand what she's saying, that usually the smaller person moving up is the faster person because the other person has that weight.
So, yeah, I mean, you basically just translated what she said. She's like, look, it's a slower weight class. They're bigger, they're slower. So, she means obviously no disrespect. She went on to say, dijo que se rió porque le causa risa porque es un decir en el deporte. Obviamente, sí. El hombre más grande, la mujer más grande va a ser la persona más lenta y que hasta los peleadores de peso completo, obviamente como Anthony Joshua, mucho músculo que en ciertas peleas perdió un poco de peso porque quería ser más rápido. Entonces dice que por eso es la razón que se ríe.
Generalmente son un poco más fuertes y un poco más lentos. Ya mi categoría es como es un conjunto, ¿no?
Entonces, ¿usted cómo sintió el poder? Si son un poco más lentos, obviamente de allí no tuvo problema, pero el poder de alguien de peso welter, ¿cómo lo sintió?
Créeme que hace 2 semanas yo estaba en esa categoría. Desde que llegué acá yo perdí 35 libras en 3 meses.
What?
So she says, look, obviously a welterweight fighter compared to me is going to be bigger, but they're going to be slower. She said at that time, she's like, a couple weeks ago, I probably was a welterweight. She's like, in 3 months, I've already lost about 35 pounds.
Ask her how much she came into America. How much does she know how much she weighed?
¿Sabe cuánto está pesando cuando llegó a los Estados Unidos?
178.
Holy shit.
Wait, pero ¿cuál es tu altura?
1.65.
No, her
That is her height,
because she's doing it centimeters.
But,
I mean, inches.
Yeah,
no, centimeters.
Metric. Yeah, we the only country in the world,
I get
only
it.
one. 178 when she got to the U.S.
But how much is that? What she said? 160.
What? 1 meter?
No. I'm talking about the meters.
Yeah,
So I could convert to inches.
1 meter 65 centimeters.
Pero no era gorda, era músculo. No era gorda.
No, y es lo que está diciendo Coach Bullet. She's like, I wasn't fat. She's like, it was muscle. Y es lo que está diciendo Coach Bullet que
pero músculo porque tú actually is it muscles because was she
Academia. Fierro.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So she was on a bodybuilding thing.
Entonces, ¿usted estaba compitiendo como para de pesa o?
Hace 3 meses que estoy entrenando después de 2 años, casi 3 años consecutivos de no entrenar boxing.
Entonces, ¿qué estaba entrenando durante ese tiempo?
Pesas.
Oh, yeah, she was like, look, I went nearly 3 years without training boxing. I was weightlifting. And it was nearly 3 years not doing boxing. So
el boxing era mi cardio en ese tiempo, no era más competitivo.
Oh, so she's like my boxing. So she was boxing cardio during that time, but she was using it as cardio, not competitive training.
But ask her, did she have amateur fights at that time?
Entonces, durante ese tiempo no tuvo peleas amateur?
No, mi última pelea fue en diciembre.
So when did she cram 40 fights in?
Entonces, ¿cuándo fue que tuvo 3 años no compitiendo? ¿Cuándo fue que tuvo esas 40 peleas amateur?
A partir de mis 11 años.
Oh, she's like, since I was 11, she's like, during that time, I wasn't fighting amateur. She was like, I was focusing on bodybuilding. The boxing was a cardio thing. She's like, but I've been boxing since I was 11, so I've been accumulating my amateur fights since then. So, wow, that's crazy.
So it spread out through many years.
Entonces,
y en septiembre, cuando yo me decidí todo esto de las artes marciales y demás, fue cuando yo empecé a entrenar para pelear de nuevo. Y peleé en diciembre. En Artigas, de donde soy, que soy de la frontera. Pero la pelea quedó sin fallo. Pero yo la cuento como una pelea igual. ¿Viste? Quedó sin fallo porque, bueno, fue una cuestión media rara ahí. Pero esa fue mi última pelea.
Pero fue la primera pelea que tuvo ¿desde cuándo?
No, fue la última.
Pero, fue la última, pero sí. ¿Desde cuándo? O sea, antes de diciembre usted tuvo una pelea antes de esa.
No, en diciembre. En diciembre fue mi última pelea.
Pero antes de diciembre.
Antes de diciembre.
La pelea antes de esa.
Antes de esa. 3 años antes.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah. So she's like, I had an amateur fight in December when I decided that I didn't want to do MMA. I wanted to dedicate myself to boxing.
Mi última pelea fue por un campeonato Mercosur.
But before that, she hadn't had an amateur fight in 3 years, and it was for an amateur championship at that time.
What weight was that amateur fight?
Esa pelea que fue, ¿en qué peso?
65. Hasta 64, te miento. Hasta 64
64. Y dice Coach Bullet que su meta de él es obviamente el debut en la 135, pero que a él le gustaría ver cómo usted se ve y qué tan fuerte se ve en la 130.
Nunca se sabe si puedo bajar un poquito más.
¿Cuál es lo más bajo que ha bajado?
57.
57. So she says she hasn't gone lower than 57. So for her see that she could go as low as 30 is interesting.
So wait,
But that fight,
you lost me. She's saying she hasn't gone as low as 57 on her own. Then linking with Bullet, she's gotten down to 130.
well, no. She'll be debuting at 35, but Coach Bullet said that she would like to see if she can even go down to 30, see how that power carries down, and see how she looks at 30. So when I mentioned that to her, she's like, look, it'll be interesting to see because on my own, the lowest I've gotten was 57.
So tell her that I need her to do one thing and change the Instagram name to her full name because she's got a lot of followers, but it is extremely difficult to find her if you're a boxing fan. So yeah, that's the first thing she has to do. Like a lot of boxers, of course. I mean,
She has two or three pages. So the one that has the most is Florencia. It's Flo Pajares, right?
yeah,
Flo Pajares.
yeah, that's the one I'm on. So this is how you explain it. Why it's a have to. Did Ryan Garcia not renegotiate his contract with Dazn when right before his fight with the Filipino kid that he knocked out? Remember?
Okay.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
I know, no, but I'm trying to see where you're going with this.
Social media in boxing is a thing now. Like she said, to get her visa, they checked her social media. Like, so do promoters. The bigger following you have, the better for your paycheck. Like, that's just bottom line. It's the truth, Ryan has been able to get championship level paydays without a fucking belt.
Even the freaking Gatorade sponsorship doesn't have a belt. Like,
Come on, bro.
De La Hoya, De La Hoya did a great job marketing and branding that kid. Just like,
I don't even think it was him. I think it was
His lawyer.
his lawyer.
yeah.
What's his name? It doesn't matter.
But that's the point I'm
yeah.
making. Believe me, you want to be found anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a fighter for a reason.
Gatorade, I'm like, yo, my man's just went 12 with to go, and he got a Gatorade commercial with Damian Lillard and a Christian.
And the performance wasn't even great.
Bro, he got that Christian Dior fragrance deal. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what do they see in him?
They see his followers, so explain that.
Dijo que,
You're 100% right.
Thank
dijo que porque las redes sociales son tan grandes y obviamente hasta en el deporte se ha visto en gente como Ryan García que no es de nivel de campeonato, no ha sido nada pero porque tiene los seguidores en las redes sociales, es muy importante que cambie su nombre a su primer nombre y apellido, porque dijo que es muy difícil, que para él fue difícil encontrar su página de Instagram porque no es tu nombre, y dijo que para él se le hace importante
No, déjame contarte una cosa.
para que la puedan encontrar.
Mi nombre era Florencia Belén en Instagram, pero hace un mes me hackearon la cuenta y me la cambiaron. No la puedo cambiar por 2 meses.
Oh, she said that her account was hacked and that it was her first and last name, and that just occurred a month ago, and she can't change it
60 días.
to that day for 60 days.
Oh, okay.
So she said next time, mind your business.
Nah, she didn't say that. ¿Tú no entendiste eso?
¿De qué es el negocio?
See, yeah, she understood. Ooh, I like it.
So she picked Katie, man. She's gonna tell me right here in my face that she didn't think Amanda won.
Entonces dijo que usted obviamente...
Like, she understood that.
Usted obviamente quiso que Katie Taylor ganara. Dijo, ¿a poco te vas a sentar aquí en su cara y decirle que Amanda no ganó la pelea?
Sí.
She did it serious
verdad,
too.
verdad.
Pero,
¿Usted cómo la vio? Usted obviamente no es juez, pero ¿cómo la vio 6-4, 7-3? Porque... No es por nada, las redes sociales, mucha gente
Los
pensó...
mejores golpes conectados fueron los de Amanda. Pero la favorita es Katie. Y eso influye mucho.
Pero
tú mismo estás diciendo que ella no ganó, entonces.
No dijo que no ganó, dijo que los mejores golpes fueron de Amanda.
No, and she said, but
No,
Katie's
pero
the
si
favorite,
and-
which means you just gave favoritism to the champ,
Well, that's
not
what-
necessarily the champ
Yeah,
won.
that's-
And that's what I'm saying. So she's basically saying that she knows Amanda won.
Entonces, ¿cómo es eso? Porque es la favorita. Si yo te tiro los mejor golpes, si yo conecto los mejor golpes...
Decíselo a los jueces.
No, o sea... Entonces, ¿usted no piensa que ganó Katie? Porque ahorita...
Mira, si voy a seguir mis sentimientos hacia Katie, le voy a elegir a ella. Pero si vamos hablando realmente de boxeo, golpes conectados, fue Amanda.
Oh, Oh yeah,
Wow.
I told you.
Wow. She's like, look, as a fan, you know, I'm always gonna pick Katie.
Pero no soy hipócrita.
She's like, but I'm not a hypocrite. She was like, the better punches was Amanda. She's like, you know, but I am the Katie fan.
And let me go against her. I believe that in that fight, Serrano came out real good. In the second half of the fight, Katie Taylor took over the fight with the right hand. It landed at will over and over and over every round. The first half of the fight, maybe if they gave Katie Taylor one of those first few rounds, that's why she won the fight unanimously. She could have won one of those rounds. See, a lot of people don't understand the part about boxing where it has two halves of the fight. The first half, look at Serrano's face. The second half, look at her face. After the second half of the fight, I told her, I said, Katie looks so strong. She looks strong. Amanda's cut, but Katie, it looks strong, like, you know, brute force. And that's what I told her. A lot of people that we was all watching the fight together. I'm like, listen, Katie's whooping her ass now. Excuse my language.
Oh, good.
You know what I'm saying? Katie's whooping her, like, hands down. And then when the decision came, Coach, you're right. I'm telling you.
So, Coach, I get what you're saying, but you said look at the face. Now you know some fighters she got that experience.
But Serrano's face ain't really been like that too much, and she cannot get away from her right hand. A right hand is a big power punch in boxing, especially for a right hand fighter.
I don't know, Coach. Serrano hurt the hell out of Kelly whole fight.
No. She hurt her in the first half of the fight. Katie regained her composure because Serrano ran out of gas and couldn't finish her, as we saw. Because she couldn't finish her, Serrano gassed herself out. By her experience, she's not showing how gassed out she is, but by her performance, I knew she was gassed out. That's like Caleb Plant versus Canelo. Great first half of the fight, but you did so many unnecessary punches to try to win by points, and you gassed yourself out. Just like everybody else versus Canelo, except Bivol. You understand what I'm saying? Bivol had the punch volume, the distance, and I bet Bivol to beat Canelo.
You did?
Absolutely. I got it on record, recorded. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, it's the things that I look at in boxing, fight for fight, and sparring session for sparring session that other people don't really. So gambling on boxing, I'm damn near 95% accurate.
Oh, shit, but you picking Rolly.
What you think is going to happen? What you think? I bet 25,000 on Rolly.
Damn!
What, Coach, are you saying?
You put 25,000 for this fight?
Yes, sir.
For the Tank fight?
Tank ain't nothing.
You betting 25,000 on this fight. I love your confidence.
Coach, so
we asked so many people that, like, why don't you bet on yourself?
Hold on, because I'm going to use your fighter, not against you, but her words. She said in that Katie and Amanda fight, I was like, well, if you were going for Katie and that's your, you know, and you thought Amanda landed the bigger and better shots, then why didn't she win? She's like, tell that to the judges. So you had to have put the 25,000 on knockout, right? Or do you think
all day, every day? We're not going to the judges because she's absolutely right. That's what's going to happen. Tank is a pay-per-view draw. He sells out arenas. If he beat Rolly in 12 rounds, he beats Rolly. If he goes to 12 rounds without beating Rolly, it's close, he beats Rolly. The only way we beat him is we drop him 2 times or more within a 12-round fight. It's the only way. We have to knock him out.
But, Coach, there's millions of people looking at that Jackson Martinez
They don't
fight.
know shit about boxing. One thing I learned about from Roger Mayweather said one thing that really behooved me but in the last 5 years, I've really been thinking about it. Most people don't know shit about boxing. They all got opinions like assholes, and it's good. You have people that's attorneys and doctors and judges that's talking about boxing. You don't know nothing about boxing. When you sit there and you train a fighter for 7 years, you know exactly what to expect every time he's out there, unless he's not disciplined or not focused. And that's when I won't be in his corner anyway, because I'd be like, I'm not being in your corner, so you're not fighting. But for this fight, styles make fights. And when I look at a fighter prepare stylistically through his whole career, a fighter's style is his characteristics, or her characteristics. So you cannot change that in one day. Tank is going to do what Tank been doing. Sit there and take punches, unnecessary punches, but you can't take that punch from Rolando. Rolly will knock you the fuck out, period. And I say it with such passion because I teach him how to place his punches. He's a super middleweight power at 135. He could fight 47 right now, but I don't want to fight 47. He's fighting 35, like I said, for her to fight down, to make her power become the ultimate weapon, and her technique and her speed. Same thing with Rolly. He has power, he has technique, his own technique that we've harnessed with himself. And that's the thing about this fight too. Every sparring partner that we ever had that's beat up Tank, got Tank in trouble, they don't give us trouble. And they'll tell you. You could talk to Claudio Marrero, whooped off on Tank and sparring a couple times. He'll tell you, Rolly's muy diferente de them all. You know what I'm saying? You cannot adjust to that in one fight. Definitely not in a few rounds. You have to spar him 4 or 5 times to try to figure out his motion, his movement. You know what I'm saying? So just like her, like if you spar her one time, you're like, oh, wow, she's special. But you know how special it is because now the next time you spar her, it's going to be different. You know what I'm saying? It's how
So do they
boxing
have
is.
history being in the same gym? Have they ever sparred?
The only history with them is that Tank never showed up for sparring. And we sat there for 2 hours both times. That's what we're always pissed about. But it's a blessing in disguise because when we spar Ryan Garcia and beat him up twice in sparring, they don't want to fight us in the pros. I don't think it's important for people in the same weight class to spar each other. Because now, like we said, if you know who this person is on record, on what people say, it's different. But when you know mano a mano, power for power, speed for speed, you're like, I'm not finna fight that person on national TV and get handled like that with small gloves.
So you saying that's why the Canelo Triple G fight took so long?
Yes, absolutely. And if you sparring people that's in your weight class, you're pretty much exploiting yourself to their team and to their management, their promoter, and they know. Not De La Hoya took Ryan off the WBA. The very next day, we beat Jackson Marinas. You understand what I'm saying? The very next day.
Whoa, coach. So
No, please don't disrespect me with that Jackson Marinas crap. That shit is
Oh,
bullshit.
man.
Jackson
coach.
Marinas got whooped damn near every round. Just like Mikey Garcia did against Earl Spence. After they get whooped every round, they do this.
Nah.
To try to sell the judges.
Come
It's a
on.
tactic.
Mikey and Marinas, you going to put that in the same category?
In the same category. Mikey Garcia's went 12-0.
You got it then.
Jackson Marinas, I give him 3 or 4 rounds because of his jab. But that fool was scared to throw his right hand. If he threw his right hand more, he would have a different outcome. He would probably have a closer fight. But Rolly fought that dude 12 rounds, hard. Pressed the line every round. And then the damn Dominican Republic gonna give him a damn belt. Then you run away from our rematch. We gave him a rematch. He ran away from the rematch because he's BITCH. And he go run into Coleman's right hand. So he destroyed himself.
I mean, it is rumored that he was offered more for the Coleman fight.
He was what?
Offered more money for the Coleman fight.
That's a lie. That's a downright disrespectful lie. He got more time to prepare and more money against Rolly. He know better. See what I'm saying? People.
That would be, I mean, just hearing that and repeating it out loud, it doesn't sound normal, right? Because if you lose, you usually don't get more money in the rematch. And Marinas, technically, I'm using air quotes, he lost. So how the hell would you guys be offering him more money in the rematch?
Because we know we whipped them. We whipped them cleanly. We'll give them whatever they want. Because we want to erase that memory. You understand what I'm saying? And when it comes to fights between Louis DeCuba and our team, we make decisions.
Louis Rolly's advisor?
Manager.
Okay.
From day one.
Wow.
Yo, I'm
He is
telling you,
Cuban. He is Cuban.
Louis got him.
No,
man.
Louis
got him.
I've been telling y'all for years, man. He the next Al. But we still have a lot more questions for her from the 504 New Orleans. We got Rue who says, how did you get involved in the sport?
Tenemos fanáticos que tienen preguntas para usted. Entonces uno de ellos dicen que cómo fue que empezó en el boxeo.
I mean, he is from New Orleans, though. Let her know. So she knows she's got people tuning in around the world for her.
I mean, how the fuck do you say New Orleans in Spanish?
Oh, the first time. Have you seen me in the chat? Like, Danny's truly the best at this.
Bro, I mean, you
just New
can't.
Orleans,
Yeah,
like
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
El fanático.
Nueva Orleans?
Yeah, bro, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, el fanático es de New Orleans,
Nueva
Louisiana.
Del casino de...
No, sí, casino. No, es una ciudad, pegada con el Golfo de México. Entonces, pero aquí en los Estados Unidos. Entonces dijo que es importante que te diga que gente de todo el país y del mundo.
Sí, porque las
están
preguntas
aquí.
son de diferentes gente, de diferentes partes del mundo. So, para que tú sepas que tú sabes, hay mucha gente en diferentes partes del mundo
Siguiendo el podcast, sí.
y siguiendo tu carrera.
Ahora que te.
Muchas gracias a la
sí.
gente.
Yeah.
So she says thank you, definitely thank you for the people. Pero ¿cómo fue que usted empezó en el boxeo?
Tenía 9 años cuando tenía ganas de boxear y siempre recibía no de mis padres. Gracias, me incentivaron más. Bueno, así me tuvieron 2 años. Bueno, el año que viene. Siempre vamos a esperar las notas de la escuela, vamos a ver cómo te va. Cuando pasé al liceo, que sería la secundaria, yo siempre era excelente alumna, hacía italiano, estudiaba, hacía inglés, hacía de todo, no me acuerdo nada de inglés. ¿Viste? Hacía danza, todo lo que yo hacía era excelente, siempre fui. Entonces, bueno, no podemos decirle más que no, porque ya me estaba rebelando contra mis padres. Bueno, en el primer día aprendí a saltar la cuerda, entonces el boxeo era para mí. Tuve 4 meses, bolsa, y mi madre, ¿qué te pagando solo para que vayas a golpear en la bolsa? Decía mi madre. Después de 4 meses fue mi primer sparring. Me reventaron toda. Sí, ahí mi madre y mi padre feliz. No va a ir más. Ya está, no más boxeo. Va a bailar, va a jugar fútbol, no sé. ¿Vos te pensás que yo fui más feliz al otro día? Con la nariz reventada, fui contenta, feliz de la vida. Y ahí mis padres dicen, no va a dejar más. No va a dejar más. Y así fue, nunca más.
She's like, no, fighting is something that I wanted and that I asked my parents for years. And they told me, get good grades. And I kept getting good grades and I kept excelling at everything that I was doing. But they wouldn't put me in boxing. And so I started to rebel against my parents until they finally put me in boxing. And, she's like, I spent 4 months on the bag. And my mom's like, why am I paying money for you to just spend time on the bag? So it took me 4 months, and I had my first sparring session, and they tore my face up, and I'm all bloody, and my nose is all busted up. And she was like, my parents were ecstatic; they were happy because they're like, there's no way she's gonna go back. And she's like, the next day I went back even happier, and I was ready to do it again. So she's like, I am truly destined for boxing. I was really truly meant to do this. So.
Yo jugaba handball, estuve en la selección.
¿Qué es eso?
Handball.
Oh, handball.
Jugué handball 4 años, 5 años.
Bro, she did everything. Can we just clear that? ¿Tú jugaste todos los deportes?
Sí. Jugué rugby 2 años. O sea, siempre hacía boxing y algo más.
Fucking fancy ass sports they got out there.
I know.
Bro, I'm like, we ain't got no handball, rugby. I'm like, what the fuck?
And she did other things. MMA.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sí, jiu-jitsu, 4 años. Soy blue belt.
Oh, she's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
Y bueno, bailé danza árabe. Hacía boxing.
Danza
del vientre.
¿Árabe dijo?
Sí, danza árabe, danza del vientre.
What, like belly dancing?
¿Qué es eso?
No, she said Arabic dancing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So it's like belly dancing. Okay.
Pero siempre era boxing y boxing y boxing y...
It was always boxing and. It was never just boxing.
So that's a problem. This is not her first love.
Well, now
Ask
it
her.
is.
Ask her. Is it her first love?
Dijo que es un problema porque el boxeo no es tu primer amor.
Sí, porque nunca lo dejaba. El boxer era todo para mí, pero yo necesitaba algo más.
¿Por qué?
Porque hacía solamente 2 horas de boxing y después, ¿qué hacía? Yo era súper hiperactiva, necesitaba ocuparme. Entonces, ¿qué hacía? Después de que dejaba de hacer deporte, a veces me pasaba, estudiaba una lengua, estudiaba artesanía. Siempre hacía algo más.
She's like, no, boxing was always my first love. I just always had to do something else because she's like, I'd go to the gym, I'd train for 2 hours, and then what? She's like, then what am I going to do? So she's like, I would take on different things. I would learn different languages. I would have different hobbies because I would train boxing, but it was only during that time. And then it'd be like, and then what? So she's like.
So I know this is the people's time for their question, but I got to ask the follow-up. Has that changed now? In terms of her having all this energy to do other things because she's under the tutelage of Bullet, and obviously he's, working her.
dijo que ahora que está entrenando con Coach Bullet y obviamente es un poco diferente, que si tiene todo ese tiempo y toda esa energía para hacer diferentes cosas o que ahora es puro boxeo.
Puro boxing.
She says
No
only
puedo ni
boxing.
siquiera ir más a la academia. No necesita. Es boxing every day.
Most of them, and then when they come from out the country, like Christian, they learn. I'm 10 hours in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So while I'm in the gym and they're done, guess what they gotta do? They gotta do their core work while I'm training other people. Then we go get something to eat, relax for a second, then we go to the track every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's no time to have energy for anything else. And guess what? They sleep really good. All of them. They sleep really good. You know what
Dijo
I'm saying?
que de la forma que él los trabaja, que no hay tiempo ni energía de hacer otras cosas. Y dice que cuando él acabe de trabajarlos a todos sus peleadores, dijo, te prometo que todos duermen bien, descansan bien, porque obviamente los trabaja bien duro. Pero
Next
tenemos más preguntas.
I don't know where Mr. Adore is from, but I want to say New Jersey. And he says, for the boxing fans that will be following your career, what should we know about your style and career plans inside and outside the ring?
Dice que uno de nuestros seguidores de New Jersey te pregunta que ahora para la gente que te está siguiendo, ¿qué es algo que debería la gente de saber de ti, de tu estilo y de tus planes para el futuro, sea boxeo o fuera del ring?
En el boxeo, mi plan es conquistar el título. Y hasta que no llegue no voy a parar. En el boxeo es eso. Y fuera del boxing, me encantan las fotos.
Estar enfrente de la cámara o detrás, tomar fotos o que te las tomen
Que
a
me
ti.
las tomen. Me encanta, me encanta, amo. Y ¿saben? Mi hobby, aunque así como me ven, es la cocina. Me encanta cocinar.
Really?
Sí, de verdad. Me encanta hacer cosas nuevas y aprender. Eso
So
me
hay un
encanta.
restaurante en tu futuro.
¿Mm?
Abrir un restaurante en tu futuro.
La cocina de Flow.
La cocina de Flow.
So
Ya
she got
tiene
the name
nombre.
and everything.
And I'm gonna translate everything. Se me olvidó lo que te iba a preguntar, but she said that she's like, look, boxing is my first love, but if I had any other plans for the future outside of boxing, it would be, she's like, I love having my picture took, so maybe modeling or something like that. And she's like, in the ring, it's becoming a world champion. And I will not stop until that happens. And I feel like I'm missing something. Fuck.
Igual me imagino yo en un futuro en una película de acción.
She also says she pictures herself in an action movie. Oh, she said that her hobby, I guess you could call it now, would be cooking, just in the kitchen. And that if she were to open a restaurant, it would be called the Kitchen of Flo. Flo's Kitchen. Flo's Kitchen.
La cocina de Florencia. No, y déjenme contarles unas cosas que deberían de saber de mí. Que renuncié a mi título universitario. Semana pasada, viernes, era la defensa de mi tesis. Profe de Educación Física. Renuncié a mi título universitario por el box. Si será grande el amor que tengo.
She said that literally just last week that she gave up school and stopped pursuing her education to, because of boxing, because that's how dedicated she was, that she's like, I had to let that go because I wanted to pursue boxing and only boxing.
What was her major?
Entonces, ¿de qué estaba estudiando en la universidad?
Licenciada en Educación Física.
Licenciada.
Mm.
Oh, wow. So she said a lawyer in the fitness world, so in physical training.
Okay. James Valdez, San Antonio, Texas says, what's your most memorable experience while being in the Floyd Mayweather TMT gym?
¿Cuál es su memoria favorita estando en el gimnasio de Floyd Mayweather?
El primer día no me lo olvido más. No podía creer cuando estaba en el frente, lloraba, parecía una loca.
Pero nomás por estar ahí,
por haber llegado, porque de dónde vengo, eso es algo muy lejano.
Exactly.
Es algo muy lejano, es algo prácticamente imposible.
Exactly.
Yo recibo mensajes día a día, ¿cómo hiciste? ¿Cómo te sentís?
¿Sí?
Flo, ¿te das cuenta de dónde estás? Es algo inalcanzable para mucha gente eso.
She said she's like the first day. She said the first day, and I asked her, I said, what about the first day? She's like, just being there, being in the front. She said, I was crying. And she's like, you got to understand where I come from. Like, this is the top. she says, day in, day out, I receive messages, encouragement.
No, she said it's unattainable, right?
Inalcanzable.
Yeah, unattainable. Yeah.
I'm telling you. That's why I was saying that the visa story is important because this is an international show. We do reach those countries. They do listen and watch, and she can be inspiration. There's many Dominican fighters that would love to be here, but they can't. You know what I mean? So her story and her journey is important for the growth of others. But
y acaba de decir que la razón que él preguntó de la visa y que está preguntando de todo es porque obviamente, como usted dice, viniendo de donde usted viene, nunca se imaginaría, y es algo muy importante para la gente que tiene que saber, es lo que la gente latina, la gente del Caribe, la gente de África que viene, o sea, los esfuerzos y todo lo que dejan.
No fue fácil.
She's like, it's not easy.
No fue fácil.
It's not easy.
Yo para llegar acá también empecé a trabajar en el mercado digital porque solo vender mi tienda no me alcanzaba. Vender mi moto no me alcanzaba. Vender mis mercaderías no me alcanzaba.
Entonces,
what market she said?
Marketing digital, el mercado digital.
Digital
market.
Hotmart.
Obviamente. She said that when she got here, she's like, I didn't have enough, even though I had sold my store and I had sold my motorcycle and I had sold my things, I didn't have enough money, so I had to, get into digital marketing. Entonces, ahorita, ¿cómo le está haciendo? Obviamente, todavía no ha sido su debut profesional, entonces, ¿cómo le está haciendo?
Gracias a Dios tengo la ayuda de mi familia. Gracias. Eso para mí es lo más importante, porque la familia es la base, ¿no? Sin mi familia no sería nada.
Pero Flo, te están ayudando de allá. Holy smokes.
So I asked her, I said, well,
Eso sí que es doblemente más difícil.
Exactly. Because the currency exchange.
Well, I mean, not just that, but, obviously, that's a third world country.
No, of course.
So I asked her, I said, so how are you doing it now? Obviously, you haven't turned pro yet. So how is it that you're making money? She's like, the help from my family.
From a third world country.
She's like, which makes it even harder because they're already struggling as it is. And for me to be here, but they have to help me.
Mm-hmm. Well, that definitely is added motivation to accomplish the dream without a doubt.
Obviamente, la meta, usted acaba de decir, es ser campeona. Coach Bullet acaba de decir hace momentos que a él le gustaría que usted pelearía de 8 a 10 veces en el primer año. Escuchando eso y escuchando ahora que es tu familia de allá la que te está ayudando, te motiva más oyendo que puedes tener tantas...
Yo siento que mi madre dice, vos no tenés obligación, yo sé, pero siento que es mi trabajo retribuir a mi familia por todo lo que hizo por mí.
Of course.
So I asked her, obviously, coming from where she comes from and now hearing that it's indeed her family that's helping her and, keeping her afloat. Hearing Coach Bullet say that she could fight 8 to 10 times in the first year, does that push her? And she says, of course. She's like, look, my family's always told me I have zero obligation to help them, but she's like, I feel that's my duty. Everything that, after everything that they've done for me. So she's like, I feel that's my duty.
What's her age?
¿Cuántos años tiene?
23.
Oh,
23.
Wow, she's super young.
Muy joven.
Tiene bastante tiempo. She has plenty of time is what I said. That's great. That's great. We got the best dad ever. That's coming from the DMV. He says, what's your goals for this year and your favorite fighter in this era to watch?
Uno de los seguidores cerca de la capital te pregunta que cuáles son tus metas para este año y cuál es tu favorito peleador ver en este momento. Ya nos dijiste la favorita en Katie, pero metas para el año y tu favorito peleador.
Metas para el año es pelear, pero pelear inteligente.
No, pero tu favor peleador para ver.
No, but first it was her goals for this year, which she was answering.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, but I'm just saying, making sure that she knows it's not her favorite fighter, it's her favorite fighter to watch.
And yeah.
Okay.
All right.
No le gusta que...
Es que, chacho, pues, ¿quieres hablar español o me vas a dejar a mí hablar? Chingao. Quieren andar de pinches metiches y... Pero, entonces...
¿Para qué me invitan si ya saben cómo me pongo?
Obviamente, la pregunta, metas para el año y luego tu favorito peleador
bueno,
para ver pelear.
Yo puedo trazar muchas metas en el año, pero yo no puedo concretar nada sin él.
She's like, look,
Él es el que dice, Flor, esto está bien o esto está mal.
she's like, look, I can give you a lot of goals that I have, but at the end of the day, none of those goals are nothing without Coach Bullet. So Coach Bullet has to say this is right or this is wrong. So at the end of the day, everything is through him. ¿Por qué en un tiempo... Ok, pues antes que te pregunte eso, ¿tu favorito peleador para ver ahora?
Yo no cambio nada ni por nadie en mi pensamiento. Mi favorito siempre va a ser Tyson.
Fury?
Sí.
Tyson
What?
Fury.
No, Tyson.
Oh, Mike Tyson. Oh,
yo, look, yo, I'm glad the camera
Nunca,
is on. She
jamás
cut
voy a
your eyes
cambiar,
at you.
creo.
No, that's what I asked. Tyson Fury?
No.
Coach Bullet, you know, you ain't have to ask before. Now you got to ask which Tyson you talking about.
True. It is
Now
true.
it's gotten to that point.
Tyson para mí es la mayor figura de resiliencia. Entonces,
She said, Mike Tyson to me is the ultimate figure of resilience. You know, he stands for resilience. ¿Por qué cómo fue que en un tiempo tan corto pudo usted tener tanta confianza en Coach Bullet? Porque si apenas tiene 3 meses, usted no empezó con él luego. ¿Cómo fue que en un periodo de tiempo tan chiquito pudo tener tanta confianza en él?
porque él confió en mí y me dio la oportunidad. Y eso es algo que no cualquier persona lo hace.
You know, because she just got done saying regarding her goals that everything goes through Coach Bullet and everything is right or wrong. And I asked her, I said, look, you haven't been here long. So given that you haven't been here long, you weren't training with Coach Bullet from day one. So how is it that you were able to gain all this trust and confidence? Because that's a lot needed to put your career in somebody else's hands. She's like, he trusted me first. He trusted me first and was willing to work with me. So I have to return that.
And also to piggyback that, I just think like when a fighter comes into the gym and they see the amount of fighters that I have that are really good fighters, they understand that when they see me coach them or work the mitts or corner their sparring, they see how passionate, how serious and dedicated I am. Through my dedication, through my commitment, they can see where they need to be. I'm in the gym 10 hours a day, every day, even on Saturdays. Sometimes even if I gotta go on a Sunday for a sparring session. This is all my life is boxing. You know what I'm saying? I just got a fighter's house. That's gonna be we're doing the probably Netflix, Amazon drop for a reality TV show. Straight fighters, only serious fighters. You know what I'm saying? So
male or female?
Both.
So it's just a training camp house.
It's a fighter's house. The ones that are dedicated. I have a Christian, Avis, Flo, Mike, depends on her family, might be there. Also Robert Merriweather, he's 17. He's a phenom. I don't know if you guys know about Robert Merriweather, but he's the next up and coming in his division to go to the top as well. But it's fighters like that are dedicated to the sport. And if you're dedicated to the sport, I'm like a customado in a way to take on your daily living and your boxing, because I have 25 years left for dedicated to the sport. If I don't do what I got to do in 25 years, then I'm just done with it as far as being a coach, you know, because can't coach forever. I mean, you could coach in a wheelchair, but the passion that I have, the way that I teach, the way I do things, I try to teach other people to do it just the same way. Many times you see combinations on the mitts, on TV, on videos. That shit never works in a fight. So why work on things like that? That's for a bag. Go do it in a bag. Whenever they do a combination, whenever you see any combination done in sparring, it's going to be done in a fight. If you see me doing the mitts, it's going to be done in sparring and in the fights. It's going to translate. You understand what I'm saying? So, like she was saying, he has the confidence because when they walk in the gym, there's 3 or 4 other trainers there, or 5 or 6. But you look at the seriousness and the passion and the commitment and the technique and the everything that trainer has, you'd be like, it's easy to say, well, that's who I want to train me. You know what I'm saying? When I walked into the gym the first time when I was 24 years old, I looked at Paul Andrews and I see how disciplined and structured he was. And I'm like, that's the only person I want to train me. Everybody wanted to train me. Every trainer in the gym, just like with her. She'd come in, everybody wanted to train her. But guess what? It's kind of inevitable for 2 people with the same passion, the same drive for the same sport to end up working together.
Wait. So everybody like who wanted the trainer? I'm interested to know.
There's a gym full of trainers in every gym. If she walks into any gym, every trainer want to train her because she go hit the bag by herself or shadow box or whatever. They're gonna see that.
Mm-hmm.
her work ethic, her discipline, and her skill set. She has a good skill set.
Dice Coach Bullet que él siente que la razón que fue fácil para usted confiar en él y escoger él como su entrenador es que usted vio la dedicación y el amor que tiene para el deporte y que usted tiene lo mismo y que cuando dos personas tienen eso, que es como el destino porque no los pueden separar, porque usted tiene el amor y la pasión para el deporte como peleadora y que él tiene lo mismo como entrenador.
Y también una cosa importante que me parece importante es que me gusta enseñar. Y yo aprendo de él. Y también me gusta transmitir ese conocimiento que yo aprendo de él. Entonces, él no solo me enseña a pelear, él también me enseña a enseñar.
Pero
y es algo que me gusta.
Enseñar como en forma de
Entrenando. Nosotros, digo yo. Bueno, yo estoy con él, así que es nosotros. Martes y jueves siempre hay una clase de mujeres. Y yo le ayudo ahí. ¿Viste? Y me gusta, realmente me gusta, me encanta. Y él siempre dice algo que para mí es importante, es que esto es como un puzzle.
¿Como un qué?
Es como un puzzle, un rompecabezas.
Oh.
¿Viste? Entonces, es piecita por piecita.
Piecita por piecita. She says another thing about Coach Bullet is that he teaches. So in him teaching, she's able to learn and not just learn what he's teaching, but learn to teach others. So she says that actually she, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that she actually helps teach a women's boxing class. And, you know, but once again, crediting Coach Bullet and him being a teacher in the sport. So,
y yo no tengo tiempo. No tengo tiempo porque créeme que si tuviera tiempo ya estaría en un gimnasio dando clases. Créeme.
Entonces, ¿usted piensa que tal vez un día usted también podría ser entrenadora?
Sí.
She's like, look, believe me, if I had more time, I would be in there every day training. I'd be in the gym all day.
But training being a trainer.
Being a trainer. And she says that, so I asked, I was like, so is that something that you would want to do, once you're done fighting? She's like, yeah, later on, of course.
Mm-hmm. So we do have a lot more. Next is from Mac and Ass Cheese right here in Las Vegas. He says, ask her, does she need a husband for 2 years till she gets her green card?
Oh, my God.
Because I got her.
It would be, of all people,
it would be Mac. He said, the Boxing Voice is here for her.
Uno de nuestros seguidores aquí mismo en Las Vegas dice que si necesita esposo.
Yo recibí varios mensajes como esos.
She said, I've gotten plenty of messages just like that
Yo
one.
tengo papeles, me dicen.
She says that
no quiero papeles, quiero pelear primero.
She says that they'll tell her that, obviously they're citizens, that they can get her degree. She's like, I just want to fight right now.
But the funny thing is that she says she gets a bunch of messages like that already. Hilarious. Next up is Victor Banuelos. So, Watrata. He says, ¿será una mujer que tiene talento en el boxeo podría tener un novio que no sabe pelear? So basically, does she think that a woman in the sport who knows how to fight can have a
Créeme
man?
que tuve cada novio más inservible. Créeme. No tiene nada que ver.
Como inservible.
Que eran delicados, que no tenía nada que ver con mi estilo de vida.
Pero que si usted podría tener un novio que
no sabe pelear.
La pregunta usted deje que sea boxeador. No tiene que ser, pero que sepa pelear. Que si usted podría tener un novio.
Yo lo defiendo, no hay problema.
She says, no, I'll defend him, no problem. She's like, look, all my exes, she's like, had, nothing to do with
I felt like she said all her exes.
No, yo creo que lo importante es el feeling, es uno sentirse bien y el respeto. El resto es el resto.
She's like, I think what's important is, your feelings and the respect. The rest is the rest. Coach, what's your thoughts on that? Because, as a man.
No, as the coach, would you want to see her get with a guy that isn't, in your mind, physically can't defend her? Because the question in Spanish was, can she date a man that doesn't know how to fight? Not just box, can't fight.
Yeah, it's possible. The only thing about when I've trained many women fighters, and if the support system is there, is good. If they don't support it and they may want to have a kid or want to do something that not for her career, then that's the only way it's a problem. But if they understand who she is, her goals, her dreams, time has changed. This is not the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Women movement is completely different now. Their careers, they're making jubilees. So if a man was to be with a female fighter, they would have to respect their career.
Dijo Coach Bullet porque Néstor le preguntó, él como tu entrenador, ¿cómo se sentiría si usted tendría un novio que no sabe pelear? Y dice, mire, con que su pareja le dé el apoyo y el respeto es lo más importante. Porque si
el respeto es todo. El respeto es todo, en todos los sentidos. Y la honestidad no. Yo priorizo mucho la honestidad.
She's like, no, obviously respect is everything. And honesty as well, so...
Mirin Flaco says, me encanta tu entrevista,
Definitivamente.
Dios delante de todo, mucha suerte en su carrera y tienes un nuevo fan en mí.
Muchas gracias.
No question, Mirin Flaco just saying that she's loved the interview, definitely God first before anything, and much luck on her career, and that she has a new fan in her. We got Brandon in Houston that says, what are your thoughts on Ebony Bridges' weigh-in outfits?
¿Usted sabe quién es Ebony Bridges? No. Ebony Bridges es
I'll pull it up.
Él va a enseñar una foto, pero ella ha causado mucho...
Damn, Austin.
Mucha conversación por sus... ¿Cómo se dice chingada madre?
Vestimenta.
De la forma que se viste en los pesajes.
Okay, Austin.
So.
Back it down. You can't
What are you doing, Austin?
call them maximize.
Sí,
Because of the wheel. Because of the wheel.
Fucking wheel. There's no other picture?
Yes.
Entonces acaba ella de ser campeona del mundo, pero
siempre se viste así para sus pesajes.
¿Quieres mi opinión o quieres saber cómo lo haría yo?
no,
Los dos.
las dos cosas.
Los dos.
A mí me parece que son cosas importantes. Yo pienso profesional en ese sentido. Boxing is boxing. My life is my life.
What? You know English?
Every day I drill.
I'm learning.
I'm learning. I love it. Entonces, boxing is boxing, your life is your life. Entonces,
Si después quiero hacer un book del injury, lo hago, pero fuera de boxing. Son cosas diferentes.
Tú no te vestirías así para tu pesaje.
No. Yo no. La respeto. Es su estilo y capaz que así atrae más seguidores, vende más, qué sé yo. Pero yo no lo haría.
Translate.
she's like, look, I respect her, but not something I would do. She's like, I'm sure she sells more. I'm sure she makes her more marketable, but not something that I would do. You know, boxing is boxing, and, you know, my personal life is my personal life. So she's like, I respect it, just not something I
Créeme
would
que
do.
ya he hecho books así. De ese tipo de vestimenta.
¿Usted lo ha hecho?
Sí, ya lo he hecho, pero es fuera del boxing.
¿Cómo box de así?
Vendiendo, ¿cómo se dice? Representando una marca de ropa en mi ciudad.
Okay, modeling, yeah, okay. No, pero eso es diferente porque es fuera del boxeo.
Sí.
And she's like, I've done things like that, but outside of boxing. She's like, I've modeled and I've done similar things, but she's like, I've worn stuff but it's outside of boxing.
Let me get a screen share. So I tell her I understand exactly what she's saying about keeping boxing and boxing.
Ay, Cornejo, me gusta.
And not, her personal life is her personal life. But this is a boxer. Mm-hmm. Like she's just said herself, she likes her. Mm-hmm. How else does she think she knows her? Like, this woman has gone viral, been able to get multiple championship fights, never won a championship. And it's because of, her weigh-in. She sells those tickets.
Usted acaba de decir que le gusta a usted Mari Cornejo, ¿verdad?
Me gusta
y dice, le pregunta a usted, ¿cómo es usted que la conoce? Dijo, ella se dio a conocer por la forma que se vestía en los pesajes. O sea, fue como se dio a conocer al mundo.
Es tanto que ella tuvo que quitarse los senos en estos días. Nos hicimos una entrevista y ella, tú sabes, se los quitó por su her medical reasons.
Tuvo problemas médicos.
But she says that there's been a change, you know.
Pero dijo que ahora que se sacó los senos, dijo que ya no quiere vestirse así en los pesajes y que...
No. She does
that.
dress like that. What you mean? She wears the same one. I'll show it to you. She just says there's a difference now. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, and haven't taken them out.
Yeah.
Oh, I
look,
thought you were saying it not
look,
wearing
even
them.
in numbers.
Oh,
Look.
no, dice que yo entendí mal, disculpa. Dijo no que no se va a vestir así. Dijo que ahora la diferencia que cuando se los quitó que hasta puede pelear mejor. Dijo que no le molesta porque dijo que en antes trataba de tirar un golpe y que le molestaba porque como le bloqueaba un poco y que ahora no es así. Pero su pensamiento ahorita, ¿cómo usted ve el mundo del boxeo pero para las mujeres? Porque obviamente en los últimos años se ha ido a otro nivel, ¿verdad? Pero en mi opinión puede mejorar. ¿Usted cómo ve el mundo del boxeo siendo una mujer?
Me parece que ahora el boxeo femenino está evolucionando mucho. Pero empezó a evolucionar, me parece a mí, más por la cuestión del marketing, más que por el boxing en sí. El marketing hizo evolucionar mucho el boxeo femenino. Y yo creo que eso es muy personal en el sentido de vender el boxing. Yo sé que yo puedo poner una foto en calzones y venderme bien rápido y hacerme bien conocida. Pero también puedo conquistar el mundo del boxing por mi talento. Entonces me parece a mí que hay cosas que van de la mano.
Sí, pero es por las oportunidades. Es por las oportunidades. Tú tienes que leer.
Because you're going to remember that shit, motherfucker.
Go ahead.
Damn. So I asked her, I said, in your eyes, how do you view women's boxing? Because in my opinion, well, I say obviously it has improved a lot and has gotten to another level in the last couple of years, but I still think it could improve a lot. And she said that she does believe that boxing has been evolution. You know, it's been an evolution, but she says because of marketing, she's like, I can post a picture in underwear right now and I can market myself and I can get popular. She's like, but I can do the same thing.
Y se la subí, ojo.
She's like, I can do the same thing by winning the fight fans' hearts and, you know, with my fights, with the style I fight.
No. Tú tienes que hacer los dos.
Educadamente.
Ebony Bridges has gotten 2 title opportunities in 7 fights. 7 peleas. Ya ha tenido 2.
But the problem is she's not winning.
She did win. She's a
won
champion.
a title?
She is a champion.
Because of her bikini modeling?
No, she is a champion because she won that fight, but she got 2 opportunities at a championship
she lost
title.
The first time. She lost the first
That's
time.
what I'm telling you.
But
en este deporte de mujeres, ¿cómo tú vas a tener una oportunidad a pelear por un campeonato?
Si no te das a conocer.
Perder y después que te den otro. Es porque ella sí puede vender, porque ella luce, porque ella hace los hombres verla. El final del día es los números. Si tú no estás haciendo números, tú puedes ser el mejor, Terence Crawford. How you say network? Broadcaster, how you say it?
Dice que...
Él tiene televisión.
Bueno, entonces, a ver, mis patrocinadores que los vendo enseguida bien rápido.
Él no tiene televisión. Él es el mejor en el mundo. Desde Canelo perdió, todo el mundo está diciendo que él es el número 1. ¿Cuál es su televisión? ¿Dónde está su contrato? ¿Con quién va a pelear?
¿Por qué no aparece? Sí.
So...
Que suba una
shit
foto
is serious, man. Explain to her. I mean, translate. Sorry.
How you can't translate what you just said?
I'm sorry. So I'm basically just saying that we all know Ebony Bridges has 7 fights, right?
7.
Give or take 1 fight, but she's had 2 title shots in that
pero
time.
Ahí está la cuestión que yo te digo. Yo puedo hacer todo eso fuera del boxing. Fuera. Puedo modelar, puedo sacar fotos, puedo hacer videos, puedo bailar. Fuera del boxing. Pero el boxing, es profesional.
Sí, pero es que tú tienes que entender que para las mujeres no es lo mismo. Primeramente, lo que tú ganas no es lo mismo. So, tú tienes que hacer eso para que te entre dinero diferente so she could get sponsored. Her fight is bigger. Like, think about Christina Hammer. She ain't knocking on nobody's door to go fight Clarissa Shields again, or Franchon Cruz, or Shadasia Green, or fucking Savannah Marshall. Why? Because she paid. She doing jump ropes on her Instagram, and she good. She's fighting in different countries versus girls you never heard of, and she good because she's marketable.
So, she's saying, why can't she market herself in the same manner just outside of boxing? She's like, why can't I model wearing the same shit they're wearing just outside of boxing?
As long as it's at the same time. It can't be one career, then another career.
Dice él, porque usted dijo que boxeo, vida, separado, pero dice él, puede hacerlo fuera del boxeo, modelar, tomarte fotos, pero dice con que sea al mismo tiempo, porque obviamente si estás modelando ahorita y te estás vendiendo ahorita al mundo para que te conozca y tienes una pelea, pues obviamente te van a ver como, no nomás es modelo, pero también es pelea. Entonces dice que si es al mismo tiempo, que entonces allí sí te
beneficiaría.
Sí, porque una mano
va de la otra.
Exacto.
Sí, yo entiendo lo que me quieres decir.
I'm a multitasker, so I believe in what you're saying with the being able to do two.
Bullet dijo que so tiene que hacer
2 or 3 things at the same time, just because the second thing won't take energy like boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking a picture doesn't take nothing. You can do that playing by yourself. So a model with boxing is okay. Now, an actor or actress,
yes,
that's
different.
Different.
That's different.
You cannot go on that set 8-10 hours till you can perform boxing, or vice versa.
Tú tienes que seguirla a ella.
I don't know. Hold on.
Todos los anuncios que ella hace.
Actually, and it's a different sport. So do you think it's a boxer specifically? You saying a professional athlete just in general?
Well, because a boxer in training camp. I'm sorry. Let's get this clear. In training camp, could we live our lives training camp at a time? Like Vin Diesel, quarter mile at a time. We live our lives training camp at a time.
You in the muscle cars, coach?
So no, let me ask you this.
We got another interview too.
Let me ask you this, coach. If a fighter tells you, and it has to be a fighter at that level, but it's happened. A fighter tells you, coach, I'm going to be like Mike. I'm going to go film Space Jam, but we bringing the training camp to us. Mike built a fucking basketball court at the studio.
I'm all for it.
All for it, as long as
you focus on boxing.
Okay. So while y'all not in that gym, if y'all in camp, y'all not in the gym, they could go do them.
The gym could be the backyard of the alley. The gym ain't the building. The gym is the people, like a church. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Dr. Mofongo, we're going to have to make an executive decision to cut off at one point because they all have questions for it. But we got Dr. Mofongo. He says, buenos días, me interesa. You take over, bro. Ok. Buenos días. Me interesó bastante la entrevista de esta mañana. Me interesa saber si tú fuera la persona manejando la carrera de Canelo en este momento, ¿le seguiría tomar la revancha con Bivol? Y si lo haría,
Ok, si usted fuera la manejadora del Canelo, que si le gustaría que tomara la revancha con Bivol y si serían las 175 o 168 libras. Con respeto, eres una mujer hermosa y te deseo mucha suerte.
Ay, muchas gracias.
Pero tú te estás fijando cuántos hombres quieren o tienen que decir.
Voy a hacer un OnlyFans.
I'm just letting her know that is she realizing how many men are going out of their way to, ask their question, but then say, "You're so beautiful." It's marketing. I'm hammering it in. Make sure she knows.
That's very powerful.
Exactly. You have to take advantage of that because guess what? The woman who isn't pretty, she can't take advantage.
Sí, pero realmente yo no iría de lingerie un paisaje. Jamás en mi vida. Jamás.
She said
Por eso te digo que es diferente del boxing. Yo realmente espero que un día puedan ver un entrenamiento mío. Yo no soy esto que ustedes ven acá. Mi postura cambia, mi mentalidad cambia. Yo hago un clic, bueno, es boxing. Yo soy diferente, yo miro diferente y pienso diferente en el momento que entreno, en el momento que peleo. Es algo muy mental para mí. Yo me lo tomo muy personal.
No, she's just saying, she's like, look, I don't have an issue wearing it. I just would never, ever wear it to a win. She's like, something I would never do. And I take it very personal. She's like, I have no issue wearing it outside of boxing. It's just something that I would never personally do.
Well, just make sure she knows that I was never insinuating that she needs to wear lingerie to the weigh-in. That our conversation was strictly her being looking good at the weigh-in, not even sexual, looking good at the weigh-in. It's making sure that your outfit is appealing. I was never insinuating for her to actually wear lingerie.
No,
I was just showing her what Ebony does.
No, dijo que no quiere que usted piense que él está diciendo que se tiene que poner eso en el pesaje de tanga o hacer nada de eso. Él dice que nomás quiere que sepa, si usted se ve bonita, se ve hermosa en el pesaje, que los hombres van a ver, que la gente va a poner atención ahora porque le llamó la atención. Entonces,
Créeme que tengo mis tácticas para eso.
No quiero que piense que yo te estoy diciendo que te ponga lo que ella se está poniendo, solamente lo está usando ella como un ejemplo. We still got 2 more, but we definitely got to cut out. Tenemos Palma, pero vamos a tener que hacerlo un part 2 porque tenemos otra persona aquí y ya estamos media hora sobre de la entrevista y todavía tenemos que tirar una foto con usted. So we'll be back. I was just letting her know we're going to have to cut it short. There's a shitload of questions, but it's going to have to be a part 2 because we have another guest. We're already 30 minutes behind. We still have to take a picture.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with our next guest. We do apologize not only to him, but to you and to our guest right now, Florencia, for having to rush it a little bit. Please give out your social media.
Que des sus redes sociales para que la gente te pueda seguir.
@flopajares. Les agradezco que me sigan, los voy a seguir. Gracias por todo, gracias por ver la entrevista. Y bueno, espero puedan acompañar parte de mi proceso. Porque voy a ser campeona, escuchen.
She said Flo Pajares, that's FLOPAJARES, and she says that she's very grateful for this opportunity and for the interview, and that she hopes that everybody's able to follow her career.
And she said, I will be a
Y
champion.
ahí voy a ser, sí. Acuérdense mi nombre.
She said, remember my name.
De Uruguay para el mundo, siempre digo.
From
Uruguay to the world.
That's
Yo,
right.
if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.